So Peter, good to have you with us. Your show on gurus attracted a lot of attention because everybody wants to know what's gonna happen, right? Stare into that crystal ball and tell us, 2018, what does it hold?
So Justin, you get two types of futurists, those that focus on the middle of the distribution curve, and they normally want to get things right, and then those that focus on the edges of the distribution curve, you know, the weak signals. I'm one of the latter. But every now and again, we get enough information to call the next big thing. So a couple of times people come up to me and say, Peter, what's the next big thing? You know, after the smartphone and the internet and tablets, what's going to be the next big thing? And for the last 10 years, we didn't really have an answer. You know, and on CNN, they normally get some information in from the market and they say, you know, we're going to call the next president. I think as futurists, we can make the next call. So guess what? We're going to call the next big thing. I'm sticking my neck out.
Wow. Okay, so before he does, let me just tell you that Peter is quite unique in having predicted many, many years before it happened, technologies that were very similar to Uber, to Bitcoin, and to WhatsApp. So he didn't call those names, of course, and he wasn't, but though you predicted technologies like that. So this is the guy who did that years before it happened. So I think we need a drum roll here, because we're talking 2018. He's going to hate me for this, but I want a drum roll. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get a drum roll.
A quick story. I was in Singapore 2012 and I saw a lot of people on the Marina Bay Sands taking pictures of the brick wall while I'm taking pictures of the harbor. And I'm wondering to myself, what's wrong with these idiots? Why are they taking pictures of the brick wall? And then after 5 minutes, it dawned on me they were taking selfies. So, let's rather not talk about the things that I missed in my life.
He never got that. I think it was a good thing to miss, actually. I think you were just in denial about the narcissism that was about to descend upon us. Peter, big thing for 2018.
The next big thing is not going to be a gadget. It's also going to be invisible. Yes, it's going to be all around us, and it's going to be called an Uber. Yes, the ubiquitous personal assistant. You might have played with it, and some people know it as Amazon Alexa. But this is going to change the world, mainly because I can talk to this and say, you know, what's on my diary? Switch on the lights, schedule a flight, order a pizza, how fast am I driving? All of this has been a reality for more than 30 million people around the world. We're in South Africa, we're slightly behind the curve, but this is going to be built into literally everything. In your car, into your computer. Your primary interface to the internet will now be your voice, mainly because in October 2017, for the first time, machine learning got it right to get language prediction or word prediction above 96%, better than humans. So this means that the primary interface into the internet will now be your voice, and it will be built into everything. Watch out for this space. This is going to be the next big thing.
Because we've been talking voice activation for, probably 15 years now, haven't we? And of course, but you feel this is something now that its time has finally come.
It's there because we get frustrated by talking to our navigation system and it doesn't listen to what we're saying. Right now, this ubiquitous personal assistant, Google Assistant, as well as Amazon Alexa, those are the reigning standards, and they will literally change our world in the next 10 years.
Do you see us displacing the keyboard? Do you think everything's going to be
No, not at all, not at all. We're still using our keyboard to write documents, but with the primary interface into the internet has been replaced by touch on a smartphone screen.
Right.
That's not going to go away, not by a long shot, but understand that voice will become the primary interface. Right now in my house, I say, switch on the outside lights, open up the gate, what's on my diary today, all of that. I create my diary for the week by simply talking to Alexa. So I can drop in on any room.
So you're not doing manual entries into your diary, you're talking to your diary.
That's it. Wow. So on your normal phone, load Google Assistant and say, how many children does Jacob Zuma have? And it'll give you an answer.
Is it not when there's like too many, then it doesn't start to...
It says 17, but it only gives the names of about 10.
I see, right. Because isn't there some unknowns as well? We're taking this a little further than we need. So we're in the land, okay, so let's move on. Okay, Peter, we spoke about some of these predictions, okay, and that's definitely something new. Let's talk about some of the other things that you're seeing. I mean, these things that are going to change the world. You've spoken about free energy.
Yes, but that's 30 years from now. 20 to 30
Oh,
years
really?
from
Okay.
So
okay.
it's going to be quite expensive for the remaining period, but what business are really interested in are the opportunities that can be unlocked in the next year or two, because that's really the future that counts. So we're in the process of opening up a website called Headlines from the Future, and we're inviting the world's top 100 futurists. So we have an editorial committee of about 12 of really well-established futurists, and they will invite 8 or 9 others to create the future. In essence, it's about taking all of the key forces of society, the legal system, technology, social changes, politics, and then write a news article as if it happened 2 or 3 years into the future. And we aim to launch that in about 2 months' time, but as a brief taste of what we can expect, we loaded about 7 or 8 articles on Headlines from the Future, and we did it about 2 weeks ago. And without saying it to, and without mentioning it to anyone, we have more than 300 email subscriptions of people waiting for this launch. It's fascinating to see the uptake. So let me give you a couple of predictions. We predict that very soon you'll be able to get DNA at a crime scene, and you'll be able to construct an identikit out of a person. So what they look like, their gender, their age, and so forth. And this is mainly aimed at, or mainly made possible because of the 23andMe DNA analysis, everyone loading their pictures, and because of that, you can now correlate facial features with DNA strength.
So it's not that through the DNA you can re-engineer what they look like. It's because they've loaded up a photo of themselves.
No. Because of machine learning and the world population, we can now say this DNA string links to this facial feature. So you're going to, in a very near future, be able to get DNA at a crime scene, and you'll be able to construct an identikit.
Wow.
So we also predict that Emirates is going to launch a Groupon in the sky. So as you're flying into Dubai, say, hey, we have 100 products or 1,000 TV sets that's going really cheap. Now we've got 435, sorry, the sale is over. So end of runs can now be put onto a bidding system. You have a captive audience, and Dubai is an excellent, excellent hub to distribute things to a world that is not served by traditional e-commerce. We're making predictions that you'll have online DNA dating, because you might fall in love with someone, but your offspring might have a big chance of a hereditary disease. So why don't you use an online system to match your DNA up front? We think it might happen. We believe with the Bitcoin crash, it'll lead to a massive uptake in quantum cryptography. The reason behind it is that a lot of Bitcoin machines will now just sit there without any value linked to them, and they will go over to the dark side, getting a lot of money using technology to decrypt hashes and break into secure systems. And that'll lead to a completely different uptake of security systems based on the world of physics rather than mathematics. We also predict that your smartwatch would record your heart rate, and the moment there's a deviation, it'll look at your DNA profile, some hereditary heart diseases, and say, with this type of heart deviation, you're going to get a heart attack in half an hour. And then an ambulance will be dispatched half an hour before you get the heart attack. So we believe that'll happen very soon as well.
Wow. So just yesterday, closing up on Davos, and they've been talking Davos for year after year after year about AI, but it seems there is a different feeling in the room. Klaus Schwab, chairman of the World Economic Forum, talking about, in his words, a tsunami of unemployment. He says, all you need to do is consider self-driving trucks and cashiers. We're not talking about South Africa now, we're talking about the United States. That's 3.5–4 million people who already the technology exists to displace them. What's your view?
Just in the same way, motor vehicles displaced people that made ossivans and reared oxen, we will, as humanity, adapt. Understand that AI will be huge. You're going to create an AI entity around a security camera, and then it can detect human movement. So no longer do you need people looking at computer screens because the camera will detect human movement itself. No other movement will be ignored. So AI is going to become part and parcel of our environment. We just have to realize it. So at the Institute, we've actually focused on that. So for the last 10 odd years, we allowed people to understand these futures and then create business plans around them. So that's the second part of what we're doing in 2018, is how to leverage the future. And our artificial intelligence and machine learning masterclass is a very interesting entry into this domain.
I mean, that is the great thing about Peter. He is not just a keynote speaker, but you actually on the university faculty, so you do major programs which are customized to organizations to help them personally, as you put it, leverage the future and ultimately navigate. So where do we go?
Well, if you want to know more, USB is a very good website to start off with. But if you're interested in what the future might look like, headlines from the future, and if you want to create or leverage the future, the Institute is a good starting point. Thank you, Justin.
Ladies and gentlemen, they do not call him the tour guide to the future for nothing. Pieter Geldenhuys, thank you.
Thank you.